here with Coach Bobby Smyrniotis ahead of the playoffs. Bobby, familiar time for you and your team, but how do you look back at 2022? Certainly different than the other 3 years.
Yeah, definitely. It's been a year where we've gone through a little bit of a semi-rebuild off of those 3 years, and I think in the past I've always talked about it. A CPL team's got a shelf life for 2 or 3 years. We extended that, and we turned over quite a few players, brought in a younger group this year, and I think there's been a lot of moments this year we've played some of our best football as a team. Coming into this part of the season, we've scored a lot more than we have in the past. Our defense has been doing the same as it's been doing in the past, and amongst the best. And we're just looking forward to what's next. We know the first ticket you have to punch is getting into the playoffs, and then from there it's fun times.
I know that you push your team, and obviously winning at all counts matters, but have you found yourself having to be a bit more patient, is that the right word, with some of these younger players in terms of that evolution process?
Yeah, 100%. When you bring in some younger guys and some guys who are their first year of pros, you have to find the right way to bring them into things. You can't overload them with information. They need to gain confidence from being on the pitch, gain confidence from playing the game, and start bringing in different layers. And that's been a little bit of the difference in the past years, and we've seen levels of times this year. I think it was a stretch of 5 games unbeaten, another stretch of 6 games, and then for the first time in our 4 years, we went it was 5 games without a win. And that's something that the team really had to learn a lot from. But I think those are moments you don't want as a coach, you don't want as a team, but they only make you stronger as you keep on moving.
They're the young players, but you still have a tremendous core. Players who've been with you since day one, Henry, and then you've got obviously Jonsson and Kristian and Schwanier, Becker, we go on and on, Nanko. But how reliable will those players need to be for you in this run?
Yeah, I think it's very big. They have the mentality of being in top matches, not only in the CPL but in CONCACAF and the Canadian Championship. This year we've played in the final of a Canadian Championship. So you lean on those guys a lot, and although you look back at the season, a lot of these guys have been injured for a better part of it, but they're still in and around the locker room talking to the players, and I think that's been the beauty of the season this year. We haven't had to rely on the same core group that we always had on the field, but we still need to rely on them off the field to make sure that the guys are doing everything right, coming in and just getting players into a routine of being a professional, and that's the biggest growth we've seen amongst the younger players in the group this year.
In these big games, Bobby, it doesn't matter whether it was a semi-final last year against York, I think about the final against TFC and coming back from 2 down at home in the CONCACAF game. We all think and remember them as outcomes, but when you're in that moment, when those adjustments need to be made and you guys have come through it, what are you learning in those moments as a manager in order to make that difference?
Yeah, I think what you try and do, and I think from every game is you always try and take moments. I think the problem sometimes as coaches we may get stuck into, we get blurred by wins. But you have to really look at the moments of the game, what shifts games, what's working, what needs to change, and when you've come out of a game where you've done well, also go back and see where you could be better as a coach, not only the games that maybe you haven't gone well. And I think those prepare you for the times and those pressure situations to be quick, because that's who we are in the games. I always talk about it, the game is for the players. We've worked all week as teachers do in school, and on the weekend, if the game's on the weekend, we give them the test. The test is the game, and we sit back. We can make a couple of adjustments, but the game is for them. They're making decisions in live speed as the game is going, having to take every scenario, whether you're up, whether you're down. And I think for us, it's we need to take our experiences as coaches to see where we can help the guys in those moments, whether that's an internal tactical change in formation or players moving in zones, or whether that's what you need to bring off the bench to change things in a positive way.
In your profession, there's a lot around the world where it's recycled pretty quickly. We hear managers getting fired every day in different places. This is your 4th year now. How is the motivation for you? And I get the impression you just absolutely love these big moments, these big games.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. I think you're doing this job. You want to play in big games. It's one thing we've thrived on as a club, and personally, it's allowed me to grow as a coach.
Right.
And being in all of these different situations from who I was 4 to 5 years ago. But in the end of the day, like I say to the guys, we're out here kicking a ball. We love what we're doing, and for us, we're trying to come up with different ways to be better. So I'm blessed to be here for 4 years because it allows me to evolve. It allows this team to evolve year to year, and I think we've evolved year to year on different ways of playing, and that's me challenging my whole staff challenging the team to bring different layers to our game. You know, we'd like to play a progressive possession style of game. You know, sometimes that's the hardest thing to do. We can't go in the transfer market and buy the top level players. You know, as a person I follow a lot, Pep says, you know, if he was coaching a middle level club, he'd probably finish in the middle level, but he'd still be playing his football.
Right.
It's a tough thing to do, I think, what we ask the guys, but you know, we enjoy it. We get out there and we thoroughly enjoy it, and I think that's the biggest thing that we've enjoyed over this period.
Undoubtedly, Bobby, you're one of the most entertaining teams to watch on the pitch. Well, no doubt it comes with the success that you've had as well. Some teams this year have been very defensive against your team. Is that the big challenge now for you to find that attacking rhythm going into the playoffs?
Yeah, I think so. You know, I think in the past we would see a little bit more wide open games. This year we've seen a lot of teams playing lower on the field and working very effectively. You know, I think in our league, which you know, doesn't have the most attacking output, although we've scored some fantastic goals throughout the league this year, it's in many ways it's the easier road to success. Right. And there's nothing wrong with that at the same time. And, you know, in our DNA, it's just not something that I like to wake up and do every day. So that's the big challenge. Because there you need a team that's patient. You need a team that's not going out there and trying to make everything happen all at once. And sometimes it's a war of attrition. And sometimes it's more difficult to do on the ball, but I think that's a challenge we all enjoy.
Last year it was 2 games and you were done. This year it's 3, a little bit different format. Do you enjoy the 2 legs? Does it give you a bit more opportunity to build through and you think the best team might come out at the end? Yeah,
I think so. You know, in one game anything can happen. That's the thing. That's the beauty and the other side of the playoffs. So here in the semifinals, I think it gives good opportunity for there to be 2 games. I think you play in both teams' home fields, and it creates a lot more energy when we're looking around the league and the growth of the league. Not that helps us as the coaches, but it's another 2 games, and the more games we play, I think it's always a better thing. And you're certainly in a different spot, are you not, this year with trips in CONCACAF merging last year with the playoffs? I know last year everyone talks about Pacific lifted the shield on your pitch, but is it a little bit different this year? Do you feel a little bit like you're going to see a better version of yourselves? Yeah, I hope so. I think, you know, we're an excellent version of ourselves, but we're spinning Canadian Championship games, CONCACAF semifinals games, and, you know, within 72 hours we're playing for a trophy back here. You know, but those are all variables you take, you learn from, and those experiences you don't replace. You know, you want to win more trophies, of course, but you know, you're in a league with 8 teams, and there's only going to be one. We've been fortunate over the last few years to be very successful. We know what the recipe is, and we just have to keep our heads down and move towards that. Last one for you. The players keep telling me if they win the Shield, they're wondering if the beard's coming off. What do you think? That's a tough one. I know they have the playoff beard in hockey, right? So you're going to grow it out a little bit in the playoffs, but can we get it on record? Is it coming off, or is it a little bit trimmer, shaved? What are you going to do if you win the Shield? I don't know. We'll have to ask all of our supporters. They've made some quite the good tifos in the stands there, and if the beard goes, then they're going to have to get back to work. But they can replace it with a trophy, so it'll be fine. We'll see. Not on the record yet. Not on the record. All right, we appreciate it. Good luck in the playoffs. Thank you, my friend.